There. All right. Now we got the video. Are you almost ready?
I'm shopping.
Oh, you're shopping.
They're beautiful.
Okay. I'm going to hit record here and start this episode. You all right with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me put my phone away. 3, 2, 1. You're good. Folks, welcome back to Toasting the Business. And I don't have Lynn with me today, but we got our pinch hitter in. Megan is here with Perspective, right? And she is also the sponsor of the show. She was running a little behind today, so no fabulous cocktails for me. And I'm sad.
Sorry.
That's all right. And she even teased me. She's like, I think I'll make gimlets tonight. And I'm like, oh, yes, please. And she's like, I'm running behind. And I'm like, don't worry about it. I'll just go into the pantry and dig out what I need to. But I mean, there's always a substitute, or you can find something else, kind of like Perspective. You know, if you're in your job or you're a kid and you're thinking about careers because your parents are already pressuring you at 6 to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. Pharmacist. You can go to Perspective, and that's getperspective.com, and that's Perspective without an E, and check out all the amazing videos of people who have these, I would say, awesome careers that they seem to enjoy, from beekeepers to a rock and roll dentist to a mortician to what? I don't know.
Blacksmiths, plastic surgeons, and ice farmers and things.
All kinds of stuff.
All kinds of things.
So its careers are all over the place that Megan has gone and interviewed these people to find out about their careers and what's going on with it and how they like it. So thank you, Megan, for, being our bartender normally, and but also being the sponsor of the show. So we will put it in the show notes, folks. And believe it or not, if you are thinking about this is really cool, because you spend a lot of time talking to schools and school boards, and they are implementing your program into their school systems.
I know, it's crazy.
Isn't that great?
It's so great. Yes.
So if you're a teacher or you're on the school board and you're like, oh, we need something new that's good for the kids, go to getperspective.com and check it out. Enough about that, right? Now we're going to talk to Jacob and Jon, the founders of Nomatic. Am I correct?
Yep, that's right.
I slaughter words all the time, so I just want to make sure I'm saying it correctly.
Yeah, Nomatic.
It's pretty cool shit. That's what I have to say. I mean, you guys tell me, what is Nomatic? What do you guys do there besides, drink coffee, talk to people?
Go ahead, Jon.
Believe it or not, we actually don't drink coffee or alcohol over here. So we're kind of unique because we're out of Salt Lake City, Utah, and there's a lot of members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints out here. So we wish we were toasting a glass, but we're toasting our water to you guys today. So Nomatic's actually a brand that Jacob and I started. We're cousins, and we started this business 10 years ago. As of last month, we just had our 10-year anniversary, and
congratulations.
Yeah, super fun and exciting. We have an amazing team of over 30 employees now, and we've built a brand around the most functional travel gear ever. So we make bags, we make luggage, we make apparel, we make anything that helps you travel more seamlessly to live life on the move.
Oh, wow. And how do you come about that? Like, how do you come about, we're going to do travel luggage. Yeah, that's what I want to do with my life now. I mean, there's got to be something. You didn't just come out of the womb and decide, I'm going to design travel luggage.
I wish we had such a clear vision. It was, it's one of those processes where 10 years ago, Jon and I went to a jazz game and we sat down. We were both in our own jobs, doing our own things at the time, and said, hey, let's try to learn something new about business. I was doing working in a family business, and Jon was doing working at an HR SaaS company. And we both wanted to learn something new. So we said, let's try something different. Jon knew about Kickstarter, a crowdfunding platform. And so we went on there and said, let's try to create something on there and launch it. And so we looked on there and saw that time and time again, wallets did well on Kickstarter. So we're like, okay, let's try to make a wallet. So I learned to sew from my 8-year-old sister-in-law. She taught me how to sew. I got a sewing machine. I sewed every night. My wife was pregnant at the time. And so she would go to bed early because she would have morning sickness, but I guess night sickness, however you want to call it. Go to bed at like 8 p.m. And then I'd be sewing from like 8 p.m. till like 2 in the morning. And me and John would be sending videos back and forth, like, what if it did this? Or what if it did this? And then change the wallet to do this. Anyways, long story short, we launched that on Kickstarter, hoping to sell a couple hundred, and I can sell those. Ended up selling 13,000 units.
Oh,
And we're just blown away. We're like, holy cow, we did something here. And this is pretty awesome.
wow.
So we launched that. And then since then, for the past 10 years, we've been launching product after product, about 1 or 2 a year. 2 years after that one, we launched our first bag. And that one we ended up raising about $3 million through crowdfunding. And we're like, okay, we're a bag company now. And the tagline was the most functional bag ever. And so we're like, we're going to make the most functional quality bags ever. And that's kind of where when we got into bags and things for traveling every day. And since then, we've been designing and developing things around bags, mostly, with a couple other things on the side.
I'm just impressed that you sold 13,000 wallets. I'm still stuck.
I wish I did. So I wish I did, because that would have been terrible. But I had a background in sourcing stuff overseas. So when we saw how many we were selling, I was like, I'm not doing that. And we went over to China and sourced them at a factory there and had them manufactured there, luckily.
What is it like to work with China? As far as, because you hear about people doing it all the time, and you hear the good and the bad.
Yeah.
And in between. And did you, a lot of times there's the lag of, okay, we like this, but we got to tweak it. So here's a new prototype, and it takes a long time to get that. What was your experience like?
Yeah, luckily I'd had some experience in my family's business where I was sourcing stuff overseas. So I'd been working with factories for maybe 8 years before that. And so I was fairly comfortable finding factories and developing product with them, understood the process pretty well. And so that helped a ton. And so we were able to find a factory. The process, you start with about 10, and then you keep whittling it down, asking them questions via email, and find the right one and have them make prototypes. And so that process actually, for a lot of people, would be a lot more daunting, but I had some experience in it, so it wasn't quite as scary. But there was still a lot of learnings along the way. I mean, we went out to China for the first time together, John and I, and learned a ton as we visited factories, tons of learnings every step of the way. But luckily, it wasn't quite as daunting because I had been doing it for about 8 years prior.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just blows me away. Like, if you have a product and you can't, like, what if you're on a shoestring budget and you can't fly to China, and then you're just kind of randomly picking out companies? I guess that's more of a, has anybody done this, and please tell me who it is and who should I go work with? I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people go to Alibaba and they can get burned pretty quick if you don't know what you're doing. So it is a scary prospect to try to figure it out on your own, for sure.
Do you still work with them today? I mean, a manufacturer in China today?
No, we've since moved to different partners. They were great, but we ended up finding others that were better, and we have a really great partner network that we work with and create our product now.
Okay. I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Of course you do. Go for it.
So how do you go about designing the most functional travel gear ever? Like, because I picture you guys just like buying all this luggage and traveling a lot and finding out the things that you hate about it. But like, how do you design a new product, I guess is the question.
It's interesting. Neither Jacob or I are product designers by trade. Like, we didn't go to school for that. We didn't practice in, Adobe Illustrator or know how to really design anything. So I think that was a pro and a con. It was a con because it was a huge learning curve to figure out how to design our first bag. But it was a pro because I think it allowed us to think outside the box in ways that normal bag designers wouldn't. So we didn't have any constraints in our brains of what we could or couldn't do. And so if it was like, hey, let's try putting a zipper inside of a zipper to see if, can that expand the bag in a certain way? And there's different things we tried that I think a normal bag designer wouldn't really consider, because it's like, that's weird, or that, And so what ended up happening was we just took the carry-on dimensions and we said, how can we optimize this space to be the best travel bag possible? And the bag honestly ended up kind of being a cube that was the shape of carry-on dimensions. So it wasn't very beautiful, but we ultimately worked with a bag designer that helped us kind of like beautify the outside a little bit. But Jacob and I focused heavily on the interior features to just say, how can we find exactly what our customers want? And then it's exactly what you said. We started just traveling ourselves, just with normal life or packing it to go to the cabin on the weekend or whatever it was, we just would keep testing our own products and iterating. And I think what sets our bags and brand apart is we spend a considerable amount of time designing products. With every single product we launch, it's somewhere between 18 months and 2 years that it takes us to go from idea to launch. And that's a really long timeline for some people. And the reason is because we obsess over the details. We make sure that every fabric we choose, every stitch is in the right place, that it functions exactly how we hope it would. So to answer your question, like, how do you go about it? We honestly just dove in head first. It wasn't super calculated, to be honest, but I think that kind of was our advantage. Was people were like, yes, like finally a travel bag that does this and met some need that somebody had.
How do you break into such a, I feel like it's a really saturated market. So like, how do you get known when there's so many travel bags out there?
We had I think 2 things that worked for us. One was the platform we chose to use. It was a fun platform where you could grab new ideas, new concepts, and do it in a different way, being crowdfunding. That was good. And then I think what Jon was talking about, just we had so much to talk about on our products. Like every Kickstarter we launched, there'd be an image of the product with like 25 leader lines coming out saying like this feature, this feature, this feature, this feature. Like it does everything you could hope a bag could ever do. And I think that was our, like, calling it the most functional travel bag ever, because it really does everything you could want a bag to do. When you use it, when people use it, they're like, I can't believe I've never had a bag that does this. It literally changed my life. Like people actually comment stuff that I'm like, it's just a bag, but okay, great. That's awesome if it changed your life. But yeah, I think that's our edge, is that we just are relentless about our development and innovation and making sure this bag has everything a person could ever want on it that enhances the experience.
It's like the Swiss Army knife of luggage.
Yeah.
It's a good way to say it. Yeah.
Well, you were, when you mentioned it before, talking about doing different iterations, and last week when we had the guest on there, between her and Lynn, they were telling me the story about Louis Vuitton and what he did. And he was the first person before he got into whatever he does now, clothes and handbags and all that, but he changed a travel trunk and made it from round top to flat so you could stack them better. I mean,
what a novel idea.
So simple. That's so cool though. I want to go back. What was, I mean, I want to know about the wallets, because the 13,000 wallets, you have to design that separate, just like Megan just asked about your bags. What separated your wallets from the pack, from the rest of them? Because now, like the men's wallet, I mean, I keep my wallet in my front pocket. I don't want anything really thick. Some people, I used to have one that was from Europe and it had like for different currencies to put it in different slots. And now you see all these ones that hold your cards and they got this spring-loaded thing that flings your cards out and you can keep your money. What did you do differently that, except maybe just make a really beautiful wallet that men wanted?
Yeah, so here's a view of it. And for the viewers that can't actually see what I'm holding up, it's just a minimalist pull tab wallet with an elastic band that wraps around your cards, right? Super simple, but where ours differentiated is just this pull tab. So you pull this tab and it ejects your cards out. But what's interesting about ours is it actually gives you access to like your 4 most used cards by pulling that tab, because the tab actually runs through the center of the cards rather than wrapped all the way around. So it, instead of popping all your cards up, it just pops half of your cards up, and then you get access to your 4 most used cards. And then we have a little pocket in the back for a coin or key or anything like that, or cash if you want to fold it up. So that's what it was. It was a minimal. There was kind of a movement at the time for minimalist products when this was back in 2014. So we actually were going to name the company Basics Products. That was the name of the company. It was like, how can we create the most basic products that are super minimal, that simplify people's lives and do it with style? And that's kind of what the brand was we created. Ultimately, we switched the name from Basics away from that to Nomatic, and focus more on the travel side. But originally, this was called the Basics Wallet. We designed it in Jacob's basement with just an elastic band, like a headband for running, and then a piece of paper was the pull tab. And we just prototyped it in his basement we're like, that's pretty cool. It just, you know, it functions really well. It's super minimal and holds exactly what you need. And so that's how we came up with the wallet. That's how we designed. Like Jacob said, he sold a lot of prototypes. That's where it all started. But the key to success with this wallet, I think, was launching it on Kickstarter and using Facebook advertising to leverage just crowdfunding in general. It was kind of novel back then, and so was Facebook ads. I don't think a lot of people were doing it. Like big brands weren't doing it. It felt more like clickbait ads about losing belly fat or like some kind of supplement or something. Like it was kind of the Wild West of Facebook, and we partnered up with an agency that really helped accelerate that campaign. And we went from hoping to get our goal of 10,000 to hitting our goal, and then above and beyond raising 170,000 in our first campaign, which for two guys just, you know, with full-time jobs, it was like, holy moly, we have a business. This is real. Like we can go full-time on this now.
That's when you decided that was, because that's the next question. A lot of people don't know when to jump, you know, to make that jump. It's like, oh, I'm going to hang on to my job. How much longer? And it's like, if you would just let go and take the plunge, you will be able to, like, you know, accelerate the growth of your business 10 times. Once you finally commit to it, as opposed to, did you guys find that? Was there frustration? Like, man, I really want to take off with this. I'm tired of doing, you know, going 9 to 5, punching the clock here. And when can we, you know, one, do we have enough runway to cover us, or how much runway do we have if I finally quit my job? And two, do I have a safety net just in case? Could I take a 6-month sabbatical? I might be back. I mean, did you both go at the same time, or did you kind of stagger?
It's funny because when one day my wife was pregnant, like I said, and so I was going to a doctor's appointment, and I got a call from John as I was in the stairwell walking up in the hospital. He's like, Jacob, I did something. I hope it's okay. And I'm like, what'd you do? He's like, I quit my job. I'm like, what? And
your spare bedroom.
And he had continued to tell me that, like, he had talked with his manager or his boss at where he was working. They were incredible people, and they just said, you're doing something fun, go chase that, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, you can come back in a month or two, because John was a great salesperson over at where he was at. They're like, try this out, give it a shot. So huge shout out to them for being so supportive and helpful on that. It gave John the confidence to jump out and do that. And so he jumped out first, and that was about, what was that, John? Like 6 months after we started, or 3 months after we launched the wallet, or something like that. And then he ran the business day to day, like customer service, all those things. He did the grunt work. He was so awesome to take all that on, because it was a lot. He did that for about 6 or 8 months. And then I finally quit my job after that, when we launched our next product, which was like a notebook planner, goal setting guide thing. And that ended up doing well too. So I quit my job, and then we were both in full time at that point. But the nice part about Kickstarter is you launch a product, and then before you go and order the product, you get cash, which then takes care of that cash and financial risk that you usually take when starting a business. You usually have to go out, you create a widget, something, you go to China, you manufacture it, and then you have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on that, and then hope people will buy it. That's so scary. Mm-hmm. But for us, through crowdfunding, I was living paycheck to paycheck. I didn't have any extra money. So with this, we were able to get cash. So we had a lump sum in our business bank account together that was enough. And then we had sales already coming in. So making that first leap, it wasn't without a springboard to jump off of because of Kickstarter. There was a little more confidence behind us, and it allowed us to do that with a lot more confidence, I would say.
Have you guys ever just wanted to kill each other? Like, you disagree on a product or a thing or whatever, like,
kill's a strong word. Maybe they just want to put the one in the, a headlock and kind of give them a noogie on top of the head or something. What's wrong with that? I mean, they both have like really perfect hair going, so maybe they just want to muss each other's hair up and ruin their day that way.
Okay, no murdering.
No murdering. Absolutely no murdering. But Jacob and I, like I said, we're cousins. We actually grew up together catching grasshoppers on a lake in Montana, and it was like our childhoods. We were raised together in the summer, so we kind of have a long history of being friends. And then man, I've often said this that like if I had interviewed 1,000 business partners and tried to find the very best one, I honestly don't think I could have picked someone better than Jacob. And I say that in all honesty and saying like, we've definitely had disagreements, but I honestly don't know that we've had a serious fight in the last 10 years that's resulted in angry feelings or hurt, you know, like not talking or anything like that. Like we're both kind of, I would say we're both level headed in the fact that we've tried to build a brand around not having ego get in the way of what is right for the business. And it's not about who is right, and it's about what is right. And I think that's really helped us keep the brand moving in the right direction. But when it comes to partnerships, man, I even got so involved in this. I was like, I'm going to write a book on partnership. And as I started writing the book, I realized the whole thing was just about Jacob and how good of a person he was. And I'm like, maybe it's not me. Maybe I don't know anything in business. Maybe it's just Jacob and he's just a really good human and I need to just be more like him. So
You're hilarious. Jon is equally just as good, but we're both just figuring it out along the way.
So awesome.
That's great.
We've been lucky. We have a really good relationship.
I'm waiting for one of them to pass something over to the other screen and I'll reach over and grab it and pull it in. But so you go, okay, so we got wallet, then you have the little notebook thing, and then
The travel bag.
Then the travel bag.
Mhm.
And it, like, I want to talk a little bit about this travel bag because there are a bunch out there and it is difficult. And the reason I'm asking is last year when I was going through a business idea, that was one of the things that we had to deal with, travel luggage and such, and trying to sort through that and ordering all these different bags and figuring out and giving. You got it with my other product, one of my other products. I'm like, here, try this. Tell me what you think. But going through that, and then it's like, nope, I don't like this. Yes, I like that. It has to have omnidirectional wheels. I can't do those wheels just go this way. Let's get to the, you know. And like you guys said, it expands. What hell? And then there's a battery pack that everybody's now jamming into there so you can charge stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody's putting in a cooler though.
Or a blender. I want a blender.
You know, like
and speakers. And a place to put all the grasshoppers that I like to catch.
It's like coolest cooler meets luggage. If you've ever heard of the coolest cooler that was on Kickstarter, that was like one of the original products that exploded, and they made a cooler that had a blender and speakers and all that stuff. So we'll just combine that with our luggage. I think you're onto something there.
That sounds like a Kickstarter product if I ever heard one.
I can get you a cooler with speakers on it. That I know. That's manufactured right over here. Zach Brown makes that.
There you go.
Yeah.
I just want a Nomatic bag now.
You want a Nomatic bag.
Yeah.
So what's so cool about, I mean, like, what are the features that you getting the feedback and people are like, I love this because it has, you know, A, B, C, and D. And we'll start there because I want to know what the weirdest request is besides Megan's.
So you're asking, so the question is, what are the most like features that people are requesting or wanting the most from us?
Yeah.
The funniest one that we ever, like, we had a lot of random things. One person was like, I really want a bag that has a banana pocket. No one's made one with a banana pocket yet. And it's just like, wait, what?
Okay, there's a point. Because sometimes I will stick a banana in the side of my backpack and it gets really bruised because it's not made for a banana.
Exactly.
So it was like a hard shelled banana. Okay, I'm on
The
board with
struggle is real. You get it. So
yes. It ripens in like 1 hour just because it travels.
Yeah. So there's that one that we got requested. The one that actually we get a ton of is a diaper bag. People are asking us to make a diaper bag for men, which is interesting. Also for women too. But a lot of guys saying, I want a diaper bag that I can carry around confidently. That's an interesting one that we get. There's
What's the one with the banana pocket.
What's the name? Well, it's TBD. It's coming. Just wait.
Okay.
I get that, a diaper bag. You want a masculine diaper bag, and it's easy and functional for you to carry around. That makes sense.
It's good for men. Yeah, I don't know. We get all kinds of things. I don't know, Jon, if you have any other answers to that. Those are two that always make me laugh that we get.
Yeah, one of the questions you asked with that was just like after the travel bag, kind of like what, I guess, like what products we've made. So we actually have quite a few products. So when you're mentioning four-wheeled roller luggage, we have some hard-shelled luggage we just released recently. That's pretty awesome. It's some of the lightest luggage in its class. It's got more. It can hold slightly more capacity than any other bag on the market, and the reason is because we spent about 3 years designing this product because we actually re-engineered the process of how you make bags, specifically luggage. Usually all the hardware is screwed in, and this is super boring technical stuff, but usually like wheels and handles, they're all screwed on. But we decided if there was a way to weld them together or glue them on really tightly somehow, that we could save space and weight and all of that. And we actually figured it out. We just launched that luggage this past year, and it's done really well. And so we have luggage, we have backpacks, we have sling bags, we have all types of carry. So there's really, we've almost hit every bag we can think of except for the banana bag. That's the one we're still missing, I guess.
So a feature that you could add, do you ever get this request on your, now you have your luggage, the wheel on bigger than a carry-on, to have a scale already built in on it? Because, you know, that's the biggest thing. I have the little thing that I clip to my bag and I check my weight to make sure it's under 50 pounds. And if you have that little digital readout, maybe it's rechargeable, so the battery's not so. And then as you weigh it and you stand it up and you hit the button, it says, boom, the bag weighs, bam, and you're all set. Just throwing it out there. And they're like, oh yeah, we already have that. We've done that.
Those do exist on the market. There's one where you lift it up, and if it's above weight, that instead of giving it a number, the dial just turns to red, so you can tell, oh, you're too heavy at this point, and you're in danger. Our ones are actual scales. We haven't implemented any of those because they're kind of gimmicky. They tend to break over time, and then you're just left with a heavier bag that has stuff in the way. But it's a good concept though, because it is a risk you always run into.
Especially when stuff gets chucked around. They don't handle your bags nice. You're probably too young to remember. Samsonite, and you guys too. Samsonite used to do this commercial, and it would show you their luggage going through, you know, the cargo guys or the luggage handling guys, and it was just this big ape, and it was just like smashing the luggage around in the back when it goes down through the gate before it gets loaded, and they were like, it can handle it.
I've heard that commercial 2 or 3 times from different people now, and I'm thinking it's time Nomatic recreates that ad and does it next level, where we get Jacob in an ape costume throwing some bags around.
Well, Jon almost beat it. Jon, we have a video of Jon. Jon used to have long hair, and he's holding a hammer like Thor, and he hits it off this 2-story building, and we weren't intending for it to fly off the building, but he hit it so hard that it flew off the building and dropped 2 stories. We were expecting it just to fall over, and it didn't crack, didn't break or anything. It was just fine.
Awesome.
So that was a fun way to illustrate how strong it is and how durable it is.
It's like the otter box of luggage.
Right. Yeah.
Is your luggage like TSA approved? Do you have locks on your luggage?
Yeah, TSA approved locks and everything, and size and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want people going through my stuff.
You're right.
Put that lock on there.
That's
It
right.
goes away into no man's land. That's not good. But what's the beautiful thing? I mean, your travel bag, it meets the specs for carry-on. What function does it have? Any other functions besides that like stand out, that people are like, don't ever take this away?
Yeah.
This is the best thing.
There's a couple things that people love. I mean, I think it's the collection of everything, but a couple big things, like there's patented strap technology. So the strap will easily go from being duffel carry to backpack carry without any loose or dangling straps, how that works. So it can transition from one to the other really easy and really quick. And then there's like a shoe pocket, a waterproof bottle, like toiletries pocket. So if your toiletries break, nothing can spill through. There's an RFID safe passport pocket that has a lock, so your stuff secure in there. There's lots of mesh pockets. There's a laundry bag, a collapsible laundry bag that comes with it. So I wouldn't say there's like one thing. It's like, and that's just like 5 of them. There's like 15 more things that it can do that keep it really organized and keep you like all settled, and everything's like right where it needs to be. So when you travel, you're like, wow, this literally does everything I could imagine. It's perfect. Is what it feels like.
Ask for it for Christmas.
I have to go to New York for a month on Friday, and now I feel like I can't even go because I don't have the right luggage. Like, how am I going to make this work?
You probably rush order one.
I know.
Get it overnight.
There you go.
She's
I
really
might- I
pondering.
might-
That's what her
I
wheels are
know.
grinding for.
If it had the
building.
banana pocket, I'd be like, yes, overnight.
But look,
Or slacking.
you go 1, 2, 3. At what point for each product launch? One, how do you come up with the idea for a new product? And two, do you guys have like a playbook that you use to launch each product to market? Or do you just, it's a new product and it's like, we got to do this all differently because it's going to appeal to maybe this crowd as opposed to that crowd? How does that work for you?
Yeah, so we kind of approach it this way because our business and our first product was launched on Kickstarter. Kickstarter is a unique platform because it inspires a community to come together and support an idea, and then ultimately, if the idea gets funded, they get their reward. So, what we've tried to do in our business is something similar, where we'll actually survey our customers. And we'll say, "What do you want us to create next?" And they'll actually take a survey and say, whatever, apparel, like a functional travel jacket is my next requested item. And we'll say, okay, let's go build that. And then for the next year or two, we'll build that product and then we launch it and rinse and repeat. So we're giving our customers exactly what they want because we're asking them. We're not just trying to guess. So we use this model of surveying, and then the other fun part of that is once we get their feedback and they say we want a travel jacket, then we go even deeper and we hold focus groups and we have people come in and try it on. And then we say, what are you carrying when you travel in this travel jacket? And so we have a process that's very specific to how we do our research and development, how we make sure the products are dialed during the actual development phase. And then when we go to launch, typically we've launched new innovative products on Kickstarter. And we do that because our community kind of lives there. We have over 50,000 backers that just keep coming back for new campaigns when we launch. But surprisingly, Kickstarter doesn't really account for less than 5% of our annual revenues come from Kickstarter. So it's not like we're getting all of our funds there. It's more just a place to get the feedback that we need before we go manufacture something, just to make sure that we've done it right. And then, we've worked with a lot of awesome ambassadors and creators that create really cool content around our products when we go to launch. And we launched some camera bags in the last 3 years that I guess it's been almost 4 or 5 years now, but we launched some camera bags that have done really well. And it's been fun because people who carry camera bags also have cameras and they like to make really cool videos. So we have these very high-end product videos now of all of our products of people that are these brand ambassadors for us because they love the bags we're making. So that's been fun.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, that actually answered my next question because I was going to ask about Kickstarter and if you guys still use the platform or if you'd moved away from it. Have you guys heard of F-Stop? The bags that F-Stop makes?
Yeah.
I have one. It's okay.
Maybe you should get one of theirs.
I think so.
I get a Nomatic.
Wow, I want like an outdoor. Okay, well, forget what I want. I want to know what your guys' dream product is. Like, forget what the customers want. Forget me and my hiking bag and my banana pocket. Like, if you could make any product you want to make, what would it be?
Oh man, my joke answer to that is I want to see this through until we get to Nomatic Airlines and I can just fly around in my own private jets or something. But yeah, let's see, a product that's actually that we would make if we weren't taking feedback from our customers.
For me, I love photography. I've always loved photography. And then an influencer, Peter McKinnon, came along and was interested in making bags with us. And that for me was awesome because I've always wanted a better camera bag and never been able to find the right camera bag for what I'm doing. So for me, that was so fun to have one of my hobbies and passions collide with making bags. And I got to have it do it for a reason. And literally made the bag that was exactly how I like it to be. And that was so fun. That was a blast. And now I get to use that every time I go and do photography. So that's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like this private jet idea.
It's more fun than a camera bag.
Yeah.
Does the Nomatic Airlines have a nice ring to it?
It really does.
Yeah.
And it's a great name. It's
Right.
a great name for travel luggage and also, yes, an airline. What is the hardest thing you guys have run into? Like, has there been a point where you kind of just hit a wall and you're like, we don't know if this is going to work. I might have to get my job back. Has there been a moment like that?
We've had a couple moments like that. I mean, as an entrepreneur, I think the majority of the time you're like just grateful to be running your own thing and have the freedom and control of your life. But there's also this other window that not a lot of people see, where you're cuddled up in the corner in the like fetal position trying to just survive. And so about once a year, once a quarter, I don't know how often it happens, something will happen where it's like, oh no, this is big. This is going to be the end of the world. Like sometimes it's a product, we've had specific products that have had fatal flaws that you just don't realize something is going to go wrong, and it does. And when that happens, it feels like the whole world's going to end. But luckily with those situations, we've been able to actually come back and be better off for it, because we'll either improve the product or figure out a way to make it better. And I mean, luckily, obviously we're still in business. So we survived COVID, other things that were really hard for a travel brand. So we've definitely been through the ringer. We've experienced highs and lows for sure. But I would say a couple that stand out to me would be, the pandemic was really hard. And we, almost overnight saw us like 60% loss in sales, and just had to hold our breath for a couple of years. But now that travel's back and people are traveling again, we're feeling really good about the future. So
I want a rain. I want a waterproof, not resistant, a good waterproof rain jacket. That's what I want. Like they almost do it, but the ones that
Does this exist? I've never had a waterproof jacket that's actually waterproof.
No, I haven't either. After a couple hours, or your back sweats like crazy, and so it's breathable. That'll be next. I want to know how many employees do you still have? 30 employees? Is that what you said earlier?
Yeah, about 32 or so.
32 or so. Do you, working with that, I mean, as you grow, as you guys grew, that's like, oh boy, are we going to be able to support these people regularly? Because now they're depending on you for their livelihoods. And so you have that, and making those calls to bring people on. But what types of, I mean, you're in the travel business, you have travel luggage, you have all over. Do you give your people like extra time off to go do something? Some of these companies, it's their work-life balance, and just to name a couple in the outdoor recreational thing, they're like, no, we want you to take a month off. Literally take a sabbatical, go do something, go be out in the wilderness, or go help with this national park, or do such. Do you guys have anything like that for your employees?
Yeah, we have a program that has been really awesome to run. And when we started Nomatic, it wasn't like, hey, we're going to start this business and we're going to do X, Y, and Z. Like here's our mission statement. Here's our values. Here's everything. It was like, let's create a wallet. The real genesis was, let's learn something. Let's grow. Let's progress. Let's gain some knowledge some new way. And that kind of has become a value that's kind of run through our business of just personal growth and development. Like we just are driven and love the concept of growing and developing. That's really energizing for us. Trying something new, and then creating a balance in life. So for us, we have something called the Life Well Lived Challenge internally, where we have our employees, they create 4 goals in life. So physical, mental, social, spiritual. And we say, make these goals. And so physical could be, I'm going to work out 3 days a week. Social is, I'm going to take my wife out on a date, or I'm going to call my mom and connect with, or a sibling and connect with them once a week. I'm going to do something socially that makes me a better person. Spiritually meditate, whatever you want to do, something that grounds you. So you set goals in these 4 areas. And then as people accomplish these 4 things, then we give people travel credits, basically give them cash, reward them, and they can use that cash for travel. And so we've had people go to Paris, to Disneyland with their families. They've done all different things to experience more. But the coolest part has been the change it creates in employees. We've had employees who have said, I was like, one of their health goals was, I don't want to be on caffeine anymore. So now they're like, I got off caffeine, and that was actually life-changing for me. I've never been able to do that. And I did it through this program, and I feel so much healthier. My sleep patterns are better, this and that. Or me and my spouse have a better relationship now. And like, that's the progress that we're driven by. That's so fun to see. business is draining. It takes a lot out of you. And if you don't intentionally try to create balance, it will just run you over. And that's what happens. So it's fun to be able to do that and see the progress that our team makes, and then be able to reward with travel, because that's a meaningful thing where you get to gain new perspective on things and see the world in different ways. And it's great. So that's kind of what we work on and try to accomplish in our business.
That's cool.
That's so cool. I'm gonna go work for them.
Experiences are the way to go, right? It's like for holidays when you have to gift something to somebody, and if instead of giving them a present that may or may not last, experience is the way to do it. Right?
Yeah.
But I think it's so cool too that you tie in like these life goals that they have that would otherwise be personal goals, but you weave it in with work so that they can actually accomplish those things. It's not like two separate things. That's really cool.
Yeah. And it turns out that people who are healthier and getting along with their families and focusing on their physical, spirituality or whatever, like, turns out they actually make better employees. And so it actually comes back to benefit us. Like we're rewarding them and incentivizing them to set goals outside of work. And we purposely don't focus those goals on work. But the cool thing is it's like when you're in a good headspace, then your life just all around is better. So.
Wow. That's cool.
Going to implement that with your employees?
Yeah, me. I'm still trying to fire myself. It's too hard. Do any of your employees travel using non-nomadic luggage?
They better not. No, just kidding.
They won't be an employee any longer.
Yeah, it's
so much better.
I've never seen it happen, but my wife, like, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but sometimes she just chooses not to use any of our products. So I know our products are very male focused, but sometimes I laugh. I'm like, why don't you use one of ours? And she's like, I like this one. So, but yeah, our employees, I'm sure there's some that are sneaking around using other stuff, but for the most part, when you have access to really high end bags and luggage and stuff, there's a good chance you're gonna take that up on that opportunity to use that when you travel. So hopefully they are.
Yeah,
it's got to stand out on the turnstile when it's coming out. When it
Oh,
comes
yeah.
out, and if it's just a black bag, you're like, "Is that mine?" Oh no, not mine. How many people make that lunge for it? It's like,
Right.
no, I need something else. To stand out. You guys are in the apparel now, right?
Yeah.
When did you start? It's like, hey, we've done enough on the luggage side and the travel packs and things to lug stuff around. Let's get into the stuff that goes inside those bags. Who came up with this? Did you do it together, or did just one day you're like, hey, guess what I'm gonna do today, Jon? What? I'm back. I got the sewing machine out and I'm back and I got this shirt. How did you decide to move into that venue?
Go ahead, Jon.
Yeah, so we did the process of surveying, like I was explaining earlier. Like we actually asked our customers and we said, what do you want us to create next? And functional travel apparel was the winner by far. So after we'd kind of created a lot of bags, I think our customers were ready to let us step into another category and trust that we were going to do it well. And I think a lot of people have frustrations with travel and clothing and stuff like that. So we launched that line. Oh man, it's been over a year now, but it's done quite well. So we have a jacket, we have a shirt, a pant, and a jogger. And then we're currently developing a handful of other products that will be released most likely next fall, or this 2025 in the fall. So we have quite a bit that will round out that product line, and some exciting new colors in those items coming too. So apparel's been a lot of fun. It's a different ballgame than bags. I mean, you can make one black bag and you can sell it to anyone, but shirts and apparel and everything, they expect lots more colors, and the size and fit of everything is very tricky to manage all the different SKUs. I think we basically 10x or more the amount of SKUs we have in our business, where we're now tracking that, 1,000, I guess it's up to like 400 or something, or 400 plus different items now within our brand. So it's it changes the business a little bit, but it's been a fun muscle to flex because the apparel's done really well, and it's become, a good 10 to 15% of our business at this point. So I think the adoption rate's been pretty good from it just being only a year old.
Megan, you raised your hand. Did you have a question?
Hold on just a second. Yes, I do have a question.
What?
So pickleball is all the rage right now, right? Everybody's playing pickleball.
Yeah.
So my mom played tennis for years. And then she's like, well, I'm going to get this pickleball skirt and it's like $60, but like it's for pickleball and like it's really cute. I'm like, that's great. How is it different from a tennis skirt? Like it's a skirt that you like play a sport in. So
It's a skirt.
my question is, what the heck is functional travel? What is travel wear?
I can tell
What
you.
is that?
Oh,
Is it, do
oh,
you only wear it on the airplane?
Can I guess?
Is it for like, what is it for? And I am not clearly, I'm in a hoodie, like in jeans. I do not know fashion or clothing or anything.
You came in pajama bottoms one time. For your
Exactly.
interview. Can
That's
I,
like-
can I, can I
that's
take a
Darrin,
guess at this when functional travel wear? Let me take a stab at this.
Okay.
So they have a jacket. So if I'm a guy and I'm out and I'm traveling, I might need this jacket for if I'm going out to dinner later. I might need a jacket for something a little more upscale. But that jacket also has to keep me warm from the elements when I'm outside walking around and having the pockets that I might need for stuff. That could be one thing. That could be a travel jacket. You may need a shirt that's multifunctional, like you're out hiking for the day and traipsing around town on walking tours or whatever. But that evening, you're going out somewhere and you need to wear the same thing. And you have to be able to wash it in the damn sink and hang it overnight and let it dry so you can use it again when you're traveling. I
Is
don't
he
know.
even
Am
close?
I close at all?
What
That's a John thing.
what if
Oh my
it
God.
converted? What if it converted into a pillow? Would that be a good
Yes.
travel feature?
I get it now. Yes. Because I'm here like, okay, why do I need this specific jacket to fly
So-
on an airplane?
If people are listening, John just took his jacket off. He just made a pillow out of it. Look at it.
Okay, I love it. I get it now.
That's even better.
This is, yeah. So I still can't explain the tennis pickleball thing. This makes sense to me now. That's cool.
Got some other things too, like what you were saying, where it goes from a meeting to the airport to being at home lounging around. Like it fits in all situations because of the material. It's comfortable. Our joggers, I just gave a pair to someone yesterday and he was wearing them. He's like, I literally haven't taken these off in like 48 hours. I'm like, well, that's kind of gross. You may want to, but that's pretty cool that you can wear them like to sleep in. Then you can wake up and like lounge around the house. Then you can go to a business meeting and still feel confident in those. So they're materials that are really flexible and they look nice and clean cut, stylish, but they're just so comfortable. 4-way stretch on everything, all that kind of stuff.
So do you make this for women or is it just for men right now?
Unfortunately, it's just for men right now. But
That's exactly what I
Buy
need
it,
because I
though.
hate clothes.
Buy it and wear it. Just get the right
Shopping.
size. My biggest problem
I
with
know.
shirts is right through here underneath the arm. Like it's almost, they're always too snug and it rides up and like,
Because you're massive lats.
thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm working
And,
out.
but it's like, so I have to go up a size so it's loose enough in that area. And usually they're too short on the sleeves. I'm like, I don't want it up on the top part of my
Yeah.
bicep.
Shirts, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I work
that's the hard part. Like
Shirt looks comfortable.
getting that fit right on apparel is crazy. Like that was probably the biggest project, is figuring out who is our audience, what is their body, what's the average body type, how do we differ from like a Lululemon fit versus a Gap fit versus whatever. Like there's so many different things, and when you go into that, it's like it's so intense learning this stuff. That was a wild part of this process because every body is different and needs a different thing, but you have to fit one size large has to fit everyone within that range. And that was a lot of homework and research and trying and focus groups and all those things. It was interesting.
See, I was wrong with their line because I forget they're a higher luxury brand. Although I wasn't able to pack. It was like going on when I went to Ireland, and a friend that I went with, he goes, I'm just taking a carry-on. I'm like, we're going to be gone for 10 days. 10 days in Ireland.
I like this friend of yours.
right?
It's like me.
And I'm like, all right, let me see if I can do it. And it was, okay, figure out a sweater that I could wear out and about during the day in case it's cold and wear in the evening. I actually overpacked. Like I got back after 10 days and I'm like, I didn't wear that. I didn't wear that. I didn't wear
Yeah.
that. And I still had plenty of clothes. And I didn't stink, by the way. So, you know, my clothes weren't ripe on the flight.
Yeah, that's good.
That's the hard part. But it was, so I get it. And having a bag that's functional like that, and then the apparel, this is like a one-stop shop for me.
So cool.
That's right.
Nice. Must be nice. I just want an extra small with a banana pocket. That's my request.
All right. Up to our design team. It's happening.
Okay. What, for aspiring entrepreneurs who are listening to this podcast, what is the one or two pieces of advice that you would give somebody who's trying to start their own business?
My advice, I always give on this, which is it's kind of cliche, but I think it's so true, is that number one, you just never know what you're going to come up against. Like literally, like Jon said, every quarter there's something that's like, this could kill us tomorrow. Like this business may not exist in a day. We get a lawsuit, we get a product failure, we get a team member that does this or whatever, like random things come up. You never know what's going to happen. The biggest thing, like I don't believe I'm any smarter than anyone else. Like the differentiator is that when that happens, you just think about it, you process it, then you just grind through it and create all the options. What can you do? And you just keep waking up in the morning and going, getting after it again and again and again. And it's exhausting. Like people are like, oh, you have your own job. That's awesome. You get to like choose your own hours. I'm like, yeah. And my hours are like 80 hours a week. It's awesome. But in the end, it's just like, you have to, problems nonstop are coming at you, and you just have to build up some grit and just keep going. It just never ends. You just go, go, go. And it's exhausting. But then you launch something and it takes off, and the reward there is so fun. And you're looking around at your team and you did it together, and that's like incredible. And so it's a lot of work, but that's the first thing, is that. And the next thing is getting people around you that you love being around. Jon's awesome. Love working with him. We have a mentor that we work with who came on early on, who shares similar values, similar goals, and we just connect on a really good level. And that's been awesome to have someone who has done this before, been through transactions and different things, and like feels like earth-shattering problems that you'll never get through. And he can look at it and say, I've been through this 3 times, and here's how this worked and this worked. And if you maneuver this way, that will help you. So those are my 2 things: is get ready to grind if you're getting into this, and just be ready for that. And then get good people around you that are smarter than you and have been through it before. And then don't let your ego get in the way as they try to help you figure it out.
Jon?
That he kind of took mine at the end there. It was more just about the ego. I think for us, like I cannot imagine having built this business on my own. Like I honestly encourage people to look into partnerships if they're trying to do something on their own, because you've definitely probably heard nightmare stories of like, oh, this partnership clashed and ended up killing the business, or this guy did this. But like, if you can find someone that shares your vision and values and kind of like is able to be humble enough to say, hey, let's work together to build this. And as long as you guys are aligned on the shared mission and vision and values of what you hope to accomplish, like you can do a lot more with 2, because it's just so nice to be able to have someone to bounce ideas off of and to brainstorm with, and to just constantly be improving. And if you're all alone, sometimes I think it can probably get pretty lonely and can feel isolating and be daunting when you're in the trenches by yourself. So I think, you go together, you'll make it much further. And I think if you can find the right person to do that with, you'll go even further than that. I think exponentially it will increase your power to grow. So my advice would just be kind of piggyback on what Jacob said, like just get started, just start something. It doesn't have to be with somebody at the beginning. Like just, if you're like, I've always wanted to do something, the thing that separates people that do it and that don't are the people that actually try, and they'll just get after it. And so whether that's something small at first or something big, like just go after it. And I think as long as you're willing to kind of commit to continuing to improve and iterate and change, it may end up starting with basics wallets, and the next thing you know, it's Nomatic Airlines, right? So it can be a process, but I think that's what it takes, is just the commitment to sticking with it.
One more thing I might add that is always shocks me when I go into meetings with other entrepreneurs. I have some mastermind groups I meet with. You go to these meetings and you expect you go in there and everyone's like, I did this and this worked and we grew by this much and I pulled these levers and this was awesome and this happened and then I did this and this did this. And you get in there and everyone's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do this. Like what? I don't know what the next move is. I have no idea how to do this. And so as you're starting something, you think you need to have all the answers, but you know more than you think you do. And so that grit carries you. And so you don't have to have the answers. No one, people who are running big businesses, literally, if they say they know what they're doing, I believe that most people are lying and they're pretending. They don't really know. They're just figuring it out step by step, because every step is a new step that no one has ever done, ever, because no one's done exactly what you're doing. And so you don't have to know it. No one knows it. You just figure it out.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. And earlier you said having a mentor, and we've heard that multiple times from multiple people, not just one person saying it over and over again. But multiple people, it's like, I have a mentor, we have a mentor, and finding that right one. How long did it take you guys? We'll keep it short, but like, how long did it take you to find the right mentor to have, and why did you decide to get one?
I think it took us about 4 years or so, 4 or 5 years. We heard someone speak at Jacob's family was connected to our mentor, and his name is Joe. And Joe spoke at this event we held with this mastermind group with all these different business owners. And after he spoke, Jacob and I were just like, man, he just gets it. Like, do you think he'd even take a lunch with us? Like, we were almost scared to approach him. And then we went up to him and we're like, hey, would you go to lunch? And he's like, yeah, sure. And then after lunch was like, hey, would you help us solve this problem? And he's like, sure, I can do that. And at first it was like, we're willing to pay him hourly for his work. But then all of a sudden it turned into this thing where we weren't really paying him. We just kind of had this mutual understanding that he was working to something much bigger to help us. And ultimately we ended up gifting him equity in the company. And that's what kind of kicked off the partnership. It went from mentor to partner. And then he helped us do some fundraising and things that have really accelerated our business. And he's gotten to be a bigger partner in the business. And so having that mentor early on really helps. It just helps to have someone that's done it before that you can go to and say, hey, how can we get from A to B? And they've seen it and they say, here's the best way to do it. And that accelerates growth so much than having to figure it out on your own. So that's what mentors are good for, in my opinion.
I think so. I think that a mentor who people want to share, they want to share their knowledge.
Especially when you've been through some hard stuff like starting a company.
Yeah.
And all the leaps and bounds and hurdles that you overcome. And those folks who are out there, I mean, some people don't even know that, oh my gosh, I can mentor somebody. I had no idea. I can help these folks out. And it's a different version of I don't want to say altruistic, but more of a philanthropic way without your time is so valuable. And when somebody is willing to share their time and their knowledge with you and that's great that you guys brought him on as gave him equity in the company and he's helped you. But if that's not the ultimate, that shouldn't be the ultimate goal for a mentor. Folks who are out there, they've got a lot of good stuff to share.
Yeah.
And nobody's ever come to me and asked me
for advice. Well, there's a reason for that there.
I know.
I had early on, I had an advisor who he's the CEO and co-founder of a company called Freight. And it's kind of like Uber for business to business shipping. But I asked him, I was like, what do you do as the CEO of this startup? Like, what do you do all day? And his response was, I hang on for dear life. And now that I'm a few more years into my business and like things are slowly starting to pick up, but I'm just like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what he meant now. Because I wake up and like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? How many emails do I have to send? And it literally feels like hanging on for dear life. So you guys are probably past that stage though. So that's exciting. No, it's still that every day.
Every day, I whenever people ask me like, how's work going? I say, I'm trying to figure out how to run a business. You never quite know. Every day is a new set of problems. It never ends.
Do your spouses believe that you have real jobs?
I think so. I hope so.
Okay.
At the beginning, my wife, when I was first developing the wallet, she said, this isn't actually going to be like a business though, right? I'm like, oh, I'm trying. We still laugh about that.
As long as you didn't put something out there, well, if I do this, then we'll have more time together. I'll be
Yeah.
freer to do things with you. I can help with the kids more
Right.
often. And then it's how many hours a week?
Right.
It happens. It happens. You got any last minute questions, things?
I do have one last question. So you said you gifted this mentor equity. So you guys are you a C Corp?
Right now, we are a C Corp. I became a C Corp a couple years ago. Not since the beginning, but yeah, now we are.
That was gonna be my question. So like, when did you know when to switch over? Like, did you? I'm assuming you started maybe as an LLC and then you like converted at some point. And how did you know like when to make that switch?
That for us, our mentor actually told us about this, and there's a QSBS small business, stock where if you hold the C Corp stock for 5 years, you can, when you do a transaction, you can get out. You can do the transaction without any tax. And so, to 2.5, 3 years ago, is he knew about this. We made the transition. Now we're just counting down the time to be at 5 years, and so that was the main reason. Was in the end there will be a huge benefit to be able to, if the day comes we want to sell, we'll be able to do that tax without a tax consequence, tax free. So that's a pretty good initiative, pretty good incentive. I mean,
Yeah. Very cool.
Really good incentive.
Yeah.
pretty
My
amazing.
son has not told me about that yet, but he just laughs. I'm like, how are we doing? He goes, you're not going to be a C Corp ever. to chill out. We just got you to S Corp, okay? Just be happy with that. So we're good there. Do you guys have, so the website, when Megan's going to run home, she's going to order stuff now. So where does she go to order Nomatic products?
So it's pretty simple. It's just nomatic.com, but it's Nomatic instead of DIC. So nomatic.com, and all our products can be found there. Yeah, we offer, I mean, it's Black Friday coming up here soon. So we've got some pretty good sales for the holidays. So if you jump on anytime during that window, you're going to get the best deals of the year. So
Awesome. Any other socials that you want to share with folks right now? Like, hey, you could follow us here. If you want to reach out to one of us personally or through our assistants, contact us this way.
yeah, if you want to see Jake and I make fools of ourselves, you can look at all of our socials at Nomatic. So Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Facebook. We're constantly posting short form content there of us trying to sneak stuff through TSA security, legal stuff, of course, and just trying to explore travel hacks and things like that. So it's a lot of fun if you want to come check those out.
I want to see the piece of luggage go off the top of the building.
Yeah.
See how hard you get it. Well, guys,
Yeah.
thank you. Jon, Jacob, I have to tell you, thank you so much for being on the show today. We really appreciate it. And I hope your sales just blow it out of the water for the holiday season. Right now, I know what's going on my Christmas list.
Well, you guys, nice. Thanks for having us. It's been fun.
Yes.
Thank you
Thank you.
guys so much.
Have a great night. Take
You
care. And folks, thanks for tuning in to the show. Megan, thanks for sponsoring the podcast. And, we're getting into that. The weather's going to just turn next week. It's finally going to get cold out. Get us in the spirit for the holiday season. But let's all be safe. Enjoy some good times around the fire pit. And we'll talk to you next week.
Yes.
All right, we're done
Okay.
there.
Amazing.
Go ahead. Ask your questions. I'll stop
I
the
don't know if I
recording.
had a question. Did I have
Oh.
another question?
I don't know. We'll
I don't
stop
know
the
if I had
recording.
another question. Oh, no, I was just going to say, this is still